The September full moon of 2025 is not just another night sky event. This is a warning, an urgent whisper from the universe itself, because the energy arriving under this moon is unlike anything you've felt before. Most people will dismiss it, calling it just another full moon. But you, who are here, listening to these words, are being called for a reason. This is not a coincidence. This moment has found you because your soul is ready to hear what others will ignore. Hidden within this moon's glow are invisible currents, energetic strands so potent they are already rewriting the spiritual DNA of humanity. For some, this will feel like chaos, like sudden breakdowns or unexpected endings. But for the chosen few who see through the illusion, it will become the greatest opening of destiny in decades. The choice between breakdown and breakthrough will not be random. It will be determined by how you respond, right now, in this sacred window. That's why you cannot treat September's full moon like an ordinary cycle. This is a cosmic recalibration event. Think of it as a universal reset button, pressing on the deepest patterns of your life. Old karma will dissolve in hours what might otherwise take years. Hidden blocks will surface. And for those who align, wealth, love, and divine purpose will come rushing in like a tidal wave. But here's the truth few will dare to say. If you miss this alignment, the window closes and the energy collapses back into shadow. That is why awareness is everything. That is why you are hearing this now. And if you feel the stirring in your heart, the undeniable pull of these words, I invite you to anchor your intention immediately. Like this video, subscribe for continued guidance and type 9899 in the comments below. That number is not random. It is the angelic code of completion and divine closure. By writing it, you are signaling to the universe that you are ready to step into the new. Remember, most will sleep through this moment, but the chosen will awaken. And the fact that you are still here means you were meant to awaken. The first and perhaps most dangerous trap under the September 2025 full moon is what I call the empathy overload trap. If you've been feeling waves of emotions that aren't your own, heaviness that arrives out of nowhere, sadness that seems to seep into your bones, or a sudden urge to retreat and isolate, you are already brushing against this trap. And I need you to understand, this is not just in your imagination. This is the invisible current of the collective, pressing into your personal field, testing whether you will drown in its waters or rise above them. You see, this Pisces full moon is known in ancient prophecy as the mirror moon. That means it doesn't only illuminate your truth, it reflects the pain, confusion, and unresolved energy of humanity back into those who are most sensitive. And if you are watching this, you are one of those sensitive souls. That sensitivity is a gift, a sign of your spiritual advancement, but it can turn into a curse if you are not prepared. The trap is real, becoming a walking sponge. You begin to absorb the grief of strangers, the anger in the world, the quiet despair of the collective. You feel heavy for no reason. You wonder if something is wrong with you. You begin to question your strength. And that is exactly how the trap pulls you under. During heightened psychic sensitivity, like what this moon activates, your aura becomes porous. Think of it like a gate that has been opened wide by the universe so more light can enter. But when that gate is open, energy of all kinds, light and dark, hope and despair, rushes in. And unless you know how to direct it, you will find yourself carrying weights that were never meant to be yours. This is why so many awakened souls report feeling drained, emotionally exhausted, even hopeless during full moons. They aren't failing. They're simply unshielded. The signs of empathy overload are clear once you learn to recognize them. 1. Unexplained heaviness. You wake up with a weight pressing on your chest, but you cannot trace it back to a personal reason. 2. Isolation. You find yourself retreating, turning off your phone, avoiding even those you love, not because you want to, but because it feels unbearable to absorb more. 3. Emotional drainage. Your usual practices, meditation, prayer, journaling, feel like they barely touch the surface. It's as if your inner reservoir has been drained by someone else's thirst. And 4. Sudden swings in mood. One moment you're peaceful, and the next you're overwhelmed by grief, anger, or anxiety that doesn't belong to you. Most people under this moon will fall into the trap without realizing it. They will think they are depressed, broken, or losing their spark. They will sink into isolation, never realizing they were never meant to carry the collective storm on their shoulders. But the chosen, those who have eyes to see and hearts to listen, will understand that empathy must be directed, not absorbed. They will recognize the trap and instead transform it into a tool of power. So, how do you escape this trap? How do you honor your gift of empathy without drowning in it? The answer is in energetic boundaries. The ancients taught that every soul has the right to declare what enters their field. You are not a victim of energy. You are a sovereign being. When you say, with full intention, "I choose only what is mine," the universe listens, and the energy begins to rearrange. One of the most powerful ways to protect yourself is through grounding visualization. Imagine roots extending from your feet deep into the earth, anchoring you into the core of stability. As you breathe, see golden light rising up from those roots, filling your body with strength. And with every exhale, release anything heavy, anything foreign, anything that does not belong to you, back into the earth for purification. This practice, when done under the September full moon, is amplified tenfold. Alongside grounding comes the power of spoken mantras. The vibration of your voice is a shield in itself. One mantra you can use is, "I am protected. I am sovereign. I am light." Say it 3 times aloud, with conviction, whenever you feel the weight of emotions that aren't yours pressing in. Another ancient phrase that aligns with this moon's energy is, "Return to sender, with love and light." This doesn't push negativity back in anger. It simply redirects energy back to its source, purified, without allowing it to rest in your body. Remember, empathy is not meant to be a punishment. It is your ability to tune into the field of humanity. But under cosmic tests like this one, you are called to master it, not to suffer from it. Those who establish boundaries will rise as healers, leaders, and visionaries. Those who fail to do so will drown in confusion, mistaking the world's sorrow for their own. And this is why awareness is your greatest weapon. Knowing that the empathy overload trap exists already places you ahead of the masses who will blindly stumble into it. You are no longer at the mercy of invisible tides. You are now in the seat of choice, and choice is power. I want you to anchor this protection right now. Type the words, "I am protected," in the comments. That act is not just engagement. It is ritual. It is a signal to the universe, to your higher self, and to the collective energy field that you are no longer an open sponge. You are declaring your sovereignty in public, anchoring your boundaries in a shared space of intention. And trust me, when thousands of souls declare this together, the shield around each one grows stronger. Most people will not take this step. They will keep scrolling, they will laugh it off, they will ignore the whisper. But you are still here. You are still listening. And that means you were meant to hear this. That means you were meant to claim your protection. So, as the September full moon rises, remember this. Empathy is your gift, but without boundaries it becomes your trap. Do not absorb what was never meant for you. Do not carry storms that are not your own. Anchor, protect, ground, and declare your sovereignty. And when you do, The invisible currents that were once draining you will transform into winds that lift you higher. This is not coincidence. This is your reminder. This is your shield. And the moment you declare it, you are free. The second trap of this September full moon is far more subtle, yet just as dangerous. It is what I call the nostalgia quicksand. Unlike empathy overload, which you can feel pressing in like a storm, nostalgia comes as a soft whisper, a sweet and seductive pull that convinces you to look backward when every ounce of your soul is meant to move forward. You may notice it already, old memories rising uninvited, dreams of people you once loved appearing night after night, random songs, scents, or places pulling you back into moments you thought you had left behind. And most of all, an aching urge to reconnect with the past. Whether it's an ex, an old friend, or even a lifestyle you outgrew long ago, it feels romantic, almost poetic, like the universe is guiding you to return. But here lies the trap. This is not guidance. This is quicksand. And if you step back into it, you will find yourself repeating karmic cycles that were meant to end under this very moon. The reason this happens is simple, though mystical. This full moon illuminates karmic cords. These cords are energetic threads that connect you to people, places, and timelines from your past. Even if the relationship ended years ago, the cord can remain, carrying unresolved emotion, unspoken words, or unhealed wounds. And under the heightened light of Pisces, these cords glow. They call out to you, not because you are meant to return, but because you are meant to see them clearly for the first time, and finally release them. The signs of the nostalgia quicksand are unmistakable once you know them. First, vivid dreams or memories of people you have not thought of in years. They appear suddenly, pulling you into their world as if no time has passed. Second, a romanticized view of what once was. You begin to remember only the sweetness, forgetting the pain, the reasons you left, the lessons you already learned. Third, a magnetic urge to reach out, to scroll through old messages, to revisit places tied to those relationships. And fourth, a sense of longing that grows the more you entertain these thoughts, as if the past is knocking louder and louder at your door. Understand this. Nostalgia under this moon is not a divine invitation. It is the karmic cords exposing, themselves for clearing. The trap is mistaking them as signs to return. And many will fall into it. They will reconnect with toxic exes, reopen old wounds, and walk back into cycles that the universe had prepared to close forever. Instead of ascending into the new, they will sink into the quicksand of the old, losing precious time and energy. But you, because you are here, because these words have found you, are being shown the higher path. The solution is not to suppress nostalgia or shame yourself for feeling it. The solution is to honor and release. When a memory arises, pause. Acknowledge it. Speak aloud. I honor the role you played in my journey. I release you with gratitude. You no longer define my path. This simple recognition transforms the pull of the past into fuel for your liberation. One of the most powerful practices you can use is the cord-cutting visualization. Close your eyes and picture yourself standing in a circle of light. In front of you, imagine the person, the memory, or the situation that keeps returning. Between you, see the cord, a shimmering thread of energy that has tied you together across time. Hold gratitude in your heart, for this cord once carried lessons and growth. Then, with intention, visualize a golden sword of light appearing in your hand. Speak the words, I set you free, and I set myself free. The lesson is complete. And with a single motion, cut the cord. Watch it dissolve into the light, leaving you lighter, freer, whole. Perform this ritual under the September full moon, and the energy is magnified beyond measure. You will feel the shift immediately, an unexplainable peace, a sudden clarity, a sense of space opening in your heart where heaviness once lived. That space is not emptiness. It is readiness. Readiness for the love, abundance, and destiny that await you once the old cords no longer bind you. But hear me clearly. If you choose, instead, to go back, to reconnect, to sink into nostalgia, the universe will not stop you. Free will is always honored, but going back means repeating karmic lessons you were meant to complete. It means reliving the same pain, walking the same circle, delaying your ascension. That is why the quicksand metaphor is so powerful. It doesn't trap you instantly. It lures you in gently, one step at a time, until you realize you are stuck. And by then, it takes twice the effort to climb free. The full moon is a test. Most will fail it. They will confuse longing for destiny, memory for guidance. But you now know the truth. You know that the pull of the past is not your future calling. You know that the glow of old cords is the sign it is time to cut them, not to tighten them. So I invite you right now to anchor your intention. Whisper to yourself, "The past has no claim on me." And if you feel ready to take the step, type these words in the comments below. I am free. Do it not just as interaction, but as declaration. Every word you write carries vibration, and when you declare freedom, the cords begin to weaken instantly. Remember this: the universe never tempts you backward. Spirit always calls you forward. Nostalgia is the quicksand of karma, but awareness is your rope of rescue. Honor the memories, release the cords, and step into the timeline that was waiting for you all along. This is not coincidence. This is your reminder. And if you are still here, it is because your soul is ready to be free. The third trap under this September full moon is something almost every awakened soul will face, and it is one of the most deceptive of all. I call it the productivity poison. It creeps in quietly, disguised as motivation, dressed up as responsibility, whispering to you that with energy this powerful, you should be doing more. You should be manifesting harder, meditating longer, creating bigger, achieving faster. And yet, the more you try, the more you will find yourself blocked, frustrated, and strangely exhausted. This is no accident. This is the poison at work. The signs of the productivity poison are easy to recognize once you know them. First, a nagging sense of guilt about resting. You feel as though every pause is wasted potential, as if the universe is passing you by when you take a breath. Second, creative blocks that appear just when you push yourself to produce something meaningful. Plans that looked promising begin to collapse, projects stall, ideas fade, and instead of clarity, you find yourself tangled in confusion. And third, a restless pressure in your body and mind, like a voice urging you to hurry up and do something, yet whatever you attempt feels misaligned and heavy. Why does this happen? Because the Pisces full moon does not come as fuel for outward action. It comes as what the ancients called a divine anesthetic, a sacred pause. Pisces energy softens the edges of the world, dissolves structure, and turns the gaze inward. It asks not for productivity, but for reflection, not for movement, but for surrender. And this is where so many spiritual seekers fall into the trap. They misinterpret the quieting energy as resistance, when in truth it is invitation. Invitation to stop, to rest, to let the universe recalibrate your inner world before demanding outward results. Think of it this way. You do not plant seeds by ripping up the soil day after day. You prepare the ground, you place the seed, and then you rest. You let the rain fall. You let the sun rise. You let the hidden work happen beneath the surface. That is Pisces energy. The soil of your soul is being tended by forces you cannot see, and the harder you push against it, the more. You disturb the miracle that is quietly forming beneath. The productivity poison convinces you that surrender is laziness, that rest is failure. But the truth is the opposite. Rest under this moon is radical alignment. It is choosing to trust that the universe does more for you in one night of surrender than you could accomplish in weeks of restless striving. The cosmos is whispering, "Be still. I am rearranging your destiny." So, what is the solution? It is to embrace radical rest without guilt, to turn the very act of pausing into sacred ritual. Instead of asking, "What should I be doing?" under this moon, ask, "How can I soften? How can I release?" Allow yourself to nap, to take long baths, to walk slowly, to sit under the night sky with no agenda. Each act of surrender sends a signal that you trust the flow, and that trust amplifies the recalibration already happening within you. If you struggle with guilt while resting, use this mantra. I rest because the universe works through me, not against me. Say it aloud when your mind begins to accuse you of laziness. Write it in your journal. Place it on your mirror. Let it anchor your awareness. Remember, the greatest transformations often arrive in stillness, not in action. And if you feel resistance, try this simple practice. Place your hand on your heart. Close your eyes and breathe slowly. With each inhale, imagine golden light filling your body. With each exhale, whisper the words, "I surrender to the flow." Do this for 7 breaths, and feel how your body softens, how the pressure begins to lift, how the poison loses its grip. The danger of ignoring this truth is real. If you continue to push, if you demand productivity when the universe demands surrender, you will burn out. You will mistake divine timing for failure. You will poison your own progress by trying to force what was meant to unfold naturally. But if you surrender, if you let the anesthetic of Pisces do its work, you will awaken renewed, recalibrated, and ready to move forward with clarity when the time is right. So I invite you, right now, to make surrender your declaration. Type the words, "I surrender to the flow," in the comments below. Anchor it not just as an idea, but as an action. Each time you repeat it, you are rewriting the script of your mind, telling the universe you are ready to let go of the poison of productivity and embrace the medicine of rest. Remember, this is not coincidence. You were meant to hear this. And if you are still watching, it means the universe is asking you, personally, to pause, to breathe, to surrender. Do not fall into the trap of restless striving. Let the full moon cradle you and trust that in your stillness the miracle is already unfolding. The 4th trap of this September full moon is one that especially targets the spiritually awakened, those who already see signs, patterns, and synchronicities where others see only randomness. I call it the misguided messenger trap. And while it may seem harmless, even holy, it is one of the most effective ways the ego can hijack your spiritual progress. The problem begins with the flood of synchronicities this Pisces full moon unleashes. Numbers repeating everywhere, songs that seem to speak directly to you, dreams that carry hidden symbols, feathers, coins, flashes of déjà vu. This is the language of the universe, yes. But under the heightened current of this full moon, the messages multiply so rapidly that the seeker risks drowning in them. Instead of flowing, they begin overanalyzing. Every number must mean something specific. Every dream must be decoded perfectly. Every coincidence must be a puzzle to solve. And soon, what began as divine guidance turns into obsession. This is the trap. Spiritual analysis paralysis. The signs you've fallen into this trap are clear. First, you notice yourself compulsively seeking meaning in everything, unable to rest until you decode the sign. Second, instead of feeling uplifted by synchronicities, you begin to feel anxious, afraid you will miss something important or interpret it wrong. Third, your inner peace is replaced with constant mental chatter, a racing mind that treats every whisper of the universe like a test you could fail. And finally, you may notice yourself relying more on external interpretations, Googling angel numbers endlessly, asking others what your dreams mean, instead of trusting your own intuition. But here is the mystical truth that most will miss. Signs are not meant to trap you in thinking. They are meant to awaken your feeling. The universe does not communicate through riddles to confuse you. It communicates to activate a vibration inside of you. And if you overthink the message, you miss the very vibration it was designed to awaken. This is why so many get stuck in endless decoding. They are trying to use the mind for what only the soul can understand. The framework to break free is simple. Shift from thinking to feeling. Instead of asking, "What does this number mean? What does this dream symbolize?" Ask instead, "How does this sign make me feel in my body, in my spirit, in my heart? Does the sign bring a wave of peace, a tightening in the chest, a spark of excitement?" The body is the compass. Your physical sensations are the most ancient guidance system, long before words, numbers, or interpretations. This is how you return to truth, by listening not with your head, but with your being. If a sign brings lightness, warmth, expansion, that is confirmation, a green light from the universe. If it brings heaviness, constriction, dread, that is caution, a signal to pause or redirect. And if it brings stillness, neutrality, no reaction at all, it may simply be background noise. Not every flicker is meant for you. By training yourself to feel instead of decode, you reclaim your power from the trap. There is a simple technique to anchor this practice. The next time a synchronicity appears, whether it's a repeating number, a dream symbol, or even a sudden phrase from a stranger, pause. Place your hand over your heart or your belly. Take a slow breath. Ask yourself silently, "What do I feel in this moment?" Not, "What does this mean?" but "What sensation does this awaken in me?" Then trust the very first impression. Your body does not lie. The ego can fabricate stories, but the body holds the truth. The danger of ignoring this is real. If you remain in the trap of the misguided messenger, you will find yourself exhausted, overwhelmed, even disillusioned. You will mistake spiritual communication for spiritual homework, and in doing so, you will lose the joy, the spontaneity, the wonder of divine connection. Remember, signs are not grades on a test. They are kisses from the universe, reminders that you are not alone. 2. Overanalyze them is like dissecting a flower until all its petals fall apart. The beauty is lost in the attempt to explain it. The Pisces full moon, more than any other, amplifies this trap because Pisces energy dissolves boundaries between worlds. Signs come faster, synchronicities multiply, dreams intensify. And unless you anchor yourself in the wisdom of the body, you will become tangled in webs of interpretation. The ego loves this. It disguises itself as spirituality, convincing you that the more you decode, the more awakened you are. But the truth is the opposite. The more you analyze, the further you drift from presence. So I ask you now, will you continue to chase meaning with your mind, or will you allow the signs to wash through you like waves, felt and honored, but not dissected? Will you trust the compass of your body, the still small voice within, instead of scrambling for external interpretations? This choice will determine whether the signs empower you or imprison you. If you are ready to step out of the trap, declare it now. Type these words in the comments. I trust my body's truth. Let that be your anchor. Let that be your ritual. Because once you shift from thinking to feeling, the universe no longer needs to shout at you in riddles. Its whispers will be enough, and your soul will recognize them instantly. Remember, this is not coincidence. The fact that you are still, Here, still listening, means the universe wanted you to hear this message. Do not fall into the misguided messenger trap. Feel instead of think. Trust instead of analyze. And you will find that the guidance you seek has always been within you, waiting to be felt. The fifth trap of this September full moon is one that hides in plain sight. It is alluring, seductive, and often disguised as progress. I call it the spiritual bypassing trap. And make no mistake, it is perhaps the most subtle yet damaging trap of all, because it convinces you that you are ascending when in truth you are avoiding. The problem begins when the heightened light of this Pisces moon shines directly into the corners of the soul where pain, grief, fear, and anger still live. For many, this feels overwhelming. Instead of leaning in, instead of allowing the uncomfortable feelings to rise and be healed, the temptation is to escape into the identity of being spiritual. The bypass begins when you start saying things like, I only want positive vibes, or that person is too negative for me, or I don't need to deal with those feelings because I've transcended them. On the surface, these phrases sound enlightened, but underneath they are the ego, dressed in white robes, using the language of light to avoid the true work. The signs that you have stepped into this trap are clear once you dare to see them. First, you feel an aversion to difficult emotions, your own or others. Anger, sadness, grief, anything heavy is labeled as low vibration and therefore pushed aside. Second, you notice yourself judging others who are struggling. Instead of compassion, there is quiet superiority. They aren't awake yet. They're stuck in negativity. Third, you feel a compulsive need to appear enlightened at all times. Even when you are hurting, you plaster on a mask of serenity, refusing to admit the raw humanity inside. And fourth, you notice your spiritual practices being used not for growth, but for escape. Meditation becomes avoidance. Affirmations become denial. Rituals become distractions. But here's the truth that the ego does not want you to hear. True spirituality is not about escaping the human experience. True spirituality is about embracing it fully. Enlightenment is not light without shadow. It is the marriage of both. The shadow does not disappear because you chant mantras or burn sage. It dissolves when you allow yourself to feel it, to sit with it, to love it until it transforms. That is sacred emotional alchemy. The framework to escape this trap is distinguishing between spirituality that liberates and spirituality that hides. Ask yourself, does this practice help me face my emotions, or does it allow me to avoid them? Does my path make me more compassionate toward others, or more judgmental? Am I using light as healing, or as a mask? These questions pierce through the illusion, because the ego loves to wear the mask of spirituality. It loves to say, I am above this, when in reality, the soul's growth is always through, never around. The Pisces full moon amplifies this trap because it dissolves boundaries and brings hidden emotions to the surface. Many will panic when they feel waves of grief, loneliness, or anger rising unexpectedly. Instead of meeting these feelings with love, they will run from them, declaring, I refuse to lower my vibration. But in truth, the vibration lowers, not when you feel pain, but when you deny it. Suppression is always heavier than expression. So, what is the solution? It is sacred emotional alchemy, the art of being fully present with your feelings no matter how difficult, and allowing them to transform into wisdom. The process is simple but requires courage. When a painful emotion arises, do not silence it. Sit with it. Place your hand on your heart and say, I see you. You are welcome here. Breathe into the feeling, letting it expand without judgment. Notice where it lives in your body. Then, instead of trying to fix it, simply allow it to be witnessed. In that witnessing, the energy shifts. The anger softens into clarity. The grief softens into compassion. The fear softens into strength. This is alchemy, turning the lead of heavy emotion into the gold of wisdom. And remember, allowing difficult emotions does not mean drowning in them. You are not your anger. You are not your grief. You are the infinite soul that holds them. By embracing your whole self, including the messy, the raw, the human, you rise into a spirituality that is authentic, unshakable, and real. The danger of ignoring this is profound. Those who remain in the trap of spiritual bypassing will build castles in the air, spiritual identities that crumble at the first storm. Their growth will be shallow, their compassion limited, their healing incomplete. They will spend years chasing high vibrations without ever healing the roots of their pain. But those who practice sacred emotional alchemy will emerge from this moon stronger, freer, and truly transformed. So I ask you, will you choose the mask, or will you choose the medicine? Will you plaster light over shadow, or will you love yourself enough to embrace it all? The universe is not asking you to be perfect. It is asking you to be whole, and wholeness includes the parts of you you've been taught to fear. If you are ready to step into this wholeness, declare it now. Type the words, "I embrace my whole self," in the comments. That declaration is more than affirmation. It is alignment. It tells your higher self, your guides, and the universe itself that you are ready to stop running, ready to stop hiding, ready to live in truth. Remember, this is not coincidence. You were meant to hear these words. And if you are still here, it means your soul is ready to stop bypassing and start alchemizing. This September full moon will not reward the mask. It will reward the authentic. It will reward those who dare to embrace their humanity as part of their divinity. You are not just light. You are not just shadow. You are the sacred union of both. And when you finally embrace your whole self, nothing, not even the heaviest emotions, can pull you off your path. That is true liberation. That is true spirituality. The final trap awaiting many under the September Pisces full moon is what I call the destination delusion. Unlike the other traps which appear as heaviness, confusion, or draining influences, this one wears the mask of victory. It feels like clarity. It feels like arrival. And yet, it can be the most dangerous of them all. The destination delusion is the belief that you have made it, that you've reached the mountaintop of enlightenment, completed your healing, and are somehow finished with the work of growth. It is seductive because it flatters the ego. It whispers, "You've done enough. You are above the struggle now. You have no more to learn." And while this may feel like a crown of achievement, it is, in truth, a subtle shackle. The signs of this trap are subtle at first. You may feel a growing spiritual pride, looking at others as though they are still asleep while you have awakened. You may catch yourself resisting new teachings, dismissing them as basic or beneath you. You may feel a quiet inner resistance to shadow work, because part of you insists you are done with all that. Or you may notice an inner voice saying, "I've already healed that wound," even when life presents you with fresh evidence that deeper layers remain. The truth is that the universe does not operate with finish lines. The soul's journey is not a race, not a straight line, not a path with a clear endpoint. The framework to remember is this: the universe moves in spirals. Every lesson returns, but at higher levels. Every wound reappears, but with new depth. Every initiation circles back, not because you failed, but because you are being invited into mastery. To believe you are finished is to step out of the spiral and into stagnation. The Pisces full moon is a reminder of this eternal spiral. Its waters do not flow in straight lines. They ebb and return. They spiral through tides and currents, and so it is with your own evolution. When you believe you are finished, you cut yourself off from the spiral of becoming. When you declare yourself done, you step outside of flow. That is when stagnation becomes the hidden enemy of the awakened soul. The solution is to embrace what I call the masterpiece and work in progress mindset. This means recognizing that you are already perfect, whole, and divine, and at the same time, you are always unfolding, always growing, always expanding into more. You are both complete and incomplete, both finished and unfinished, both arrival and journey. This paradox is the secret doorway to endless growth. Imagine a painting by a great master, even while a single brushstroke is already beautiful. The masterpiece is not complete. Every stage of creation contains perfection, but the artist keeps painting. So too with your soul. You are already divine. You are already whole, and yet you are not finished. The artist within you is still painting. The spiral still turns. The evolution still unfolds. The practice to anchor this mindset is beautifully simple yet profoundly powerful. A daily gratitude ritual for the journey itself. Each morning or evening, take a moment to place your hand on your heart, close your eyes, and speak 3 gratitudes. Not for what you have achieved, but for what you are becoming. Thank the universe not for the finish line, but for the unfolding road. Thank your soul not for completion, but for expansion. Thank your life not for resolution, but for revelation. You might say, I am grateful for the lesson I am still learning, or I am grateful for the healing still in progress, or I am grateful that my journey is infinite. These words shift your orientation away from pride and into humility, away from stagnation and into flow. They remind your spirit that the destination is not a fixed point, but a living spiral of becoming. And remember, when you resist growth, the universe has no choice but to break you open. That is why so many who believe they have arrived suddenly experience dramatic. Life collapses. It is not punishment. It is the universe's way of pulling you back into the spiral. When you embrace that you are always both student and master, life does not have to shatter you awake. You stay awake willingly. So beware the destination delusion. It is sweet, but it is false. The moment you believe you are finished, you step out of the river of becoming. The Pisces moon whispers otherwise. Flow with me, spiral with me, never stop unfolding. And if you are still here, if these words resonate in the chambers of your soul, then declare it now. In the comments type, I embrace the journey. Let those words become your anchor in this season. Let them ripple through the unseen realms, signaling that you are ready to keep evolving, keep spiraling, keep becoming. Because enlightenment is not a destination. It is a dance. And the fact that you are still breathing, still alive under this moon, means your dance is not done. As we reach the close of this sacred journey through the 7 traps of the September Pisces full moon, let us pause and remember what has been revealed. You have learned about the empathy overload trap, where unchecked sensitivity can drown your light. You've seen the nostalgia quicksand, where the past tries to pull you backward. You've uncovered the productivity poison, where guilt disguises itself as ambition. You've faced the misguided messenger trap, where obsession with signs blinds the truth. You've encountered the spiritual bypassing trap, where the ego wears the mask of light to avoid real feeling. You've been warned of the deceptive guide trap, where false teachers and shadow voices seek to claim authority over your soul. And finally, you've recognized the destination delusion, where pride tricks you into believing your journey is complete. 7 traps, 7 mirrors, 7 invitations into higher awareness. And here is the truth. The fact that you now see them is already your victory. Awareness is not perfection. Awareness is protection. You do not need to navigate this moon flawlessly. You only need to stay awake to the patterns, because once you see the trap, it can no longer hold you. Once you name the illusion loses its power. This is your moment to rise, not only for yourself, but also for those who cannot yet see. You are not just walking your own path, you are lighting the path for others. The universe has placed you here, in this moment, with these words, because you are a lighthouse. You are one of the souls sent ahead to hold steady when the waves crash, to beam clarity through the fog, to remind the lost that home is near. You are a way shower, and your courage in choosing awareness ripples into the collective. So let this full moon not only recalibrate your own DNA, but also ignite the flame of service. Speak with compassion. Anchor peace when others spiral into fear. Share these truths, because what you hold in silence benefits only you, but what you release into the world uplifts the many. The collective shift requires each of us, and it begins with voices like yours carrying the light forward. If these words have stirred something within you, if you feel the call to step fully into your role as a lighthouse soul, then declare it, boldly. Write these words in the comments. I am the lighthouse. Let them stand as your contract with the universe, your signal to angels, and your offering to those who follow after you. And finally, I ask you to share this message with someone you love. You may never know the impact of that simple act. 1. Video shared, 1 word spoken, 1 spark of awareness. This is how the Great Awakening spreads. Remember, you are not alone. You are chosen. You are the lighthouse. And this September full moon, the world needs your light.